Burr, it's cold out there. Good Tuesday evening. I'm Meteorologist Nathan Kitchens here. Just want to drop in for a few minutes with a quick live update. I didn't attach my microphone to this, so I hope my audio is okay. May not be as clear as sometimes, but I think it'll be all right. Temperatures are frigid. I hope you're staying warm. It's very hard to adjust. You know, it's one thing to talk about the cold coming. We talked about it forever, it seems like, but even me myself, being the guy who's communicating about the cold weather, I kind of caught myself off guard and wasn't fully prepared. Make sure you have the hat, the gloves. You have to have it, or your hands are going to be numb in no time. It's just really hard to get used to this, especially when we were just in the 90s about 5 weeks ago. Temperatures at my house right now, it's 11 degrees. It actually just dropped to 12 in Indianapolis here. So these numbers, they are falling fast. And part of what's aiding our cold weather right now is the fact that we have so much snow on the ground. Or I shouldn't say so much snow, but I mean, we have a snow cover out there, and that helps to enhance the cold. You can see across the state, we picked up the past 24 hours of, we had about just under 3 inches in Indy, which was a record snow. 2 to 4 inches of snow was common. Most of you saw between 2 and 4 inches of snow last night. But South Bend, up there in northern Indiana, they had totals of around 13 inches. A very narrow lake effect band in Elkhart County, 13 inches. Yes, in Goshen, Indiana. Unbelievable stuff. What an incredible blast of cold air we are dealing with. And we're not the only ones. I mean, this is a huge chunk of the country that's just dealing with this right now. Let me kind of zoom out, because look at the temperatures down towards the Gulf Coast tonight. Already, just after sunset, they're in the low 30s in southern Alabama. The Gulf Coast will see its earliest freeze in many years, and in fact, it'll be a whole month ahead of normal for areas like Pensacola, Florida, there towards New Orleans. Just unusually early to be dealing with these kind of temperatures. They had snow in Tennessee, and they had flurries down into Alabama. That's how far south the snow made it. I mean, there's a huge, when you look at this map, as I kind of zoom out, look how much area got snow yesterday. I mean, it went all the way down here into Tennessee. Memphis even seeing a little bit of light snow and dusting in spots. So a huge area seeing the snow. In fact, I can even zoom out further and kind of show you really the whole U.S. Let's take you to the U.S. view here of the snowfall. This is just a snowfall analysis map, and you can see the heavy snow with all the way through the Great Lakes into the interior northeast here. That lake effect snow around Lake Erie has been bumping up those totals too. So it's definitely a pretty impressive swath of snow that came through the area last night. So I took this picture today. Still a little bit of fall out there. The trees are not fully bare yet. You still got those leaves that were still a little bit orange, and you have all that snow piled up on top of it. Not a sight you see very often. Again, this is a record snow for our area here, and we are expecting an incredibly cold night tonight. In fact, I want to show you guys how cold we could get. So, we're already at about 10 to 12 degrees across the area. The models have been underdoing the cold. Now, granted, we have a slight bit of warmer air that's going to try to start working in late tonight, but I don't think it's going to do much good. I think we're going to probably drop somewhere between about, I would say, 3 to 7 degrees. Somewhere in that range, I think will be our low tonight here in Indy. I think we could see a few spots around 0 degrees tonight, north and east of the city. Where we have more snow on the ground is where we're able to get colder. So again, let me zoom in if you can't see this very well. This is a forecast model for temperatures, which I think is probably a little bit too warm. We could probably subtract a couple degrees with this, but this model seems to be doing the best with our temperatures right now. Again, these are the lows tonight. Just frigid stuff here for this time of the year. Now we look at our low temperatures as far as the records are concerned. Again, this is just from the National Weather Service, their forecast for lows, and the circles show where we would see a record low. Look at how many locations here are expected to see records tonight when it comes to these low temperatures. Let me get my zoom fixed there. I apologize. Let's zoom this out. There we go. Look at all those circles. Look how cold it's going to get. 21 in Birmingham tonight. It'll be about 29 in Pensacola, Florida. Out there on the beach. Hey, when I head out to the beach tonight, it'll be 29 degrees on the Gulf Coast. So they're dealing with some unusual weather for sure. Again, we were 40 degrees below average today. 40 degrees below average. Just let that sink in for a minute. In fact, something else I think would be cool to show you too. Here is the 24-hour temperature change. Since yesterday, the southern part of the U.S. has had a temperature drop of about 30 to almost 40 degrees cooler compared to where we were this time yesterday. So this front is really doing a number to these temperatures out there across the area. So the good news is we're going to get into a slow warming trend as we go into the coming days. Temperatures will bottom out tonight. We hit rock bottom, and then things will slowly go up here as we head into Wednesday. Highs actually get to around freezing. It's a start. And then temperatures as we go into Wednesday night will be cold but much warmer. We have a new standard when it comes to cold now. So 30 to upper 20s Wednesday night will feel quite mild. And as we go into Thursday here, look at that. Some 40s show up here south of I-70 where we have more snow on the ground. That's where you're naturally going to stay colder. You know, snow cover has a big impact on temperatures because when the sun's rays come down and they try to warm us up, if you have a snowpack on the ground, you're not getting as much warming because that solar radiation is going into the snowpack and being reflected back into space. It's not going into absorbing and warming the ground. Instead, what's happening is all that energy is going into the snowpack. The energy is going to melt the snow, and then that energy is just shot back into space. So you end up with what we call the albedo effect in meteorology. We don't see the temperatures warm as much because of the snow. So where you have more snow on the ground, you just naturally stay colder. Where you have less snow, you have more bare ground. That's where that sun's energy can allow things to warm up, and that's why you see temperatures much warmer to the south the next few days because there's less snow on the ground there, so it'll naturally melt faster, and the snowpack will be less of a factor. So this has been just a very incredible stretch of cold weather, guys. Again, we have broken records left and right. We're talking about we've had a record cold last night, a record cold high today, and we're going to be seeing a record cold night tonight here. And this was our earliest earliest single-digit temperatures on record, and we will be seeing that again for tonight. With actually, you know, really, for some of us, one of the more impressive snow events that we even had back the last winter. We've had some pretty wimpy winters lately, so certainly makes you wonder where this is headed. We had a situation pretty similar to this in 2014 November, where it got really cold, we had snow, and then December was an all-out torch, and it never snowed again. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, though, because there are certainly some differences this year with the overall pattern compared to 2014. Maybe a little more like 1995, if you can remember that far back. That was a really cold November, and that December was cold, too. So we're certainly seeing some similarities perhaps to that time frame. I can't guarantee it, but I think we have a better standard or a better shot to be colder in November or colder in December compared to other years when you think about cold in November. Just because you're cold now does not necessarily dictate what the winter will bring. But when you look at everything and just kind of the full picture, I think we have potential to kind of see this come back in some sort of form in December, and we can actually see more of a winter-like pattern here towards Christmas time. So that would be nice. Anyway, let's see all the comments joining in. Brady, you said you love the in-depth explanation. Why this is happening. Oh, yeah, thank you for your comment. We really appreciate your feedback there. And yes, the typhoon, it really just jacked up our jet stream, if you will. It just, it really caused havoc there on our pattern across the Pacific, which downstream eventually affected our weather. It basically caused the jet stream to shoot so far south over the Bering Sea of Alaska, and then over the western part of Canada, the jet stream went way up to the north, tapped into Siberia, took a chunk of cold air from Siberia, and it took it here. So the air you're feeling tonight, this is from Siberia. This is what they experience in Siberia, and that's what we're dealing with tonight. So that's why we're dealing with such cold weather. A really powerful typhoon did this to the jet stream. And that's why we're seeing the dislodgement of this cold air. It's not normal to be here, but it's all here right now because of the jet stream, the way it was all shifted and allowed for that cold just nudge of air to be pulled south. So it's pretty interesting. And it is interesting to note, we talk about the cold weather and you think, global warming, who in the world thinks there's still global warming, right? But the thing is, we're warming the Arctic area. So what are we doing if we're warming the Arctic? What are we doing? We're displacing that cold air in other places. So just because we're cold right now, it doesn't mean that climate change isn't a thing. It is. I'm just more convinced every day when I run more statistics here. I'm looking at facts. I'm not making stuff up. I'm looking at stats from 1900 to now. Now there's natural climate change, yes, and then there's of course the potential for you could argue some anthropogenic or man-made. Anthropogenic, just a fancy word for man-made influences to the pattern. And I don't have enough research into that. I can't make, conclusions on how much is man-made, how much is natural, because naturally our climate changes over time. That's just the way it goes. So I'm not necessarily saying, oh, this is caused from humans, but I do think we have some say in that. Of course, we talked about I can go in more in depth about the ozone hole. We've made some improvements, though, with really strict standards now, thankfully. But William, you said you wonder what the temps will be 2 weeks from now. Roller coaster, probably pretty mild, perhaps, at least relative from now. And now I don't think it's going to be warm, but probably a lot more bearable in 2 weeks from now. April, you said you can't wait to get your fireplace fixed. If there's any indication of how the winter is going to be, we're definitely going to need it. Yes, that's for sure. It's rough out there. Furnaces are running in full force right now. Again, I don't think any of us were quite ready for this. I still am kind of in that mode where, I was still, struggling to remember to even wear a jacket out the door. And now it's like I've got to find the heaviest coat I can find, my gloves, the hat, try to cover every part of my skin just to even bear it outside. Not ready for it. I'm ready for these temperatures by the weekend. We're going to be getting a little bit warmer, so definitely some good news. A repeat of this is not coming anytime too soon. So, Justin, you said, when will we see the big one? I'm guessing you refer to snow. I can't, of course, say with any confidence right now because, I'm not really, we don't know winter systems in the near term, and I can't say when we're going to see it, but I think we will have. I think before the winter's over, we're going to see something we haven't seen in several years. I think we're going to see some pretty serious winter storm systems, not these wimpy clippers. I think we could see a couple really big winter storms this winter. So brace yourselves. I think just because I think we're going to warm up quite a bit here and there, ups and downs, but I do think we're going to have a little bit of a higher opportunity for bigger winter storms that we haven't seen in quite some time. So just keep that in mind. We have some analog years that really stick out in regards to some big hit winter storms that really kind of set some records here. So I could go all night about that, but I do think we have some potential this winter to be seeing some bigger winter weather events, more big ticket events, not these little systems that come through with the dusting of snow. We could see some bigger events, especially later on in the winter. So we'll watch it. We'll be here every day, and we'll keep you updated, of course. Thank goodness you cleaned the gutters on Saturday, Ruth. Yes, for sure. They're frozen now. If there's any snow in the water, it's just all frozen in there. My gutters are clogged as all get out because my trees are still full of leaves. What do you do when, your trees are still dropping leaves? I'm hoping in about a few days from now, they'll finally lose their leaves. They've lost a lot of leaves finally, thanks to the cold. So the cold seems to be freezing those leaves now and shriveling them up, and it looks like they're really falling. So hopefully I can get those gutters cleaned by the weekend. But anyway, that's all I have for your updates this evening. We do appreciate you for joining in. I had to rush a little bit at the end because my phone is on about 2% right now. So hopefully my phone doesn't die. Thank you for watching, and have a good night. And I just hope you guys stay warm and just stay safe out there as we deal with this unusual cold weather.